Hey guys, it's Josh here, and thanks for tuning in. Today I wanted to make a short video from my perspective, how I believe now that overcoming anxiety is actually quite simple. It's just not that easy. And why it's not that easy is because it's very real. I had a 20-year experience with anxiety, and the symptoms can be debilitating. Today I want to share some of my experience, how I first sort of identified with anxiety. I'm going to share what I tried and didn't work. I'm going to share what I know now does work. And I'm going to share some of the practical things that I do on a daily basis that keep me free from anxiety. And I'm also going to touch on probably what I found is missing in all the searching I went on to try and break free from what can be a really, really debilitating experience. So anxiety for me probably kicked off in my early teenage years. I thought everyone experienced this. I thought it was excitement, like I'd experienced excitement, at times in my life. But this excitement, it seemed to linger, for hours on end at times. And I didn't really know that that was a problem until, a little bit later on in life, probably in my late teens when it started causing some real issues. So, like I said, anxiety would show up as an excitement. This would usually be, before a sports game, a rugby game, or there might be a party on in the weekend, and I would experience this excitement that would just rile me up, and but it lingered, and I think that's the difference between excitement and an anxious experience. Anxiety seems to linger, and you could say it's a visceral experience in your body. It can show up as sweaty armpits, sweaty hands, clamminess, shaking in the voice, or not being able to get your thoughts out, feeling overwhelmed, which I did for so long. What I tried and didn't work to overcome my anxiety probably started in my mid-teens, and I would experience this anxiety, and when it became too much, it would come to the weekend, and I discovered smoking and drinking alcohol. And I guess the smoking for me, that that deep breathing or that comfort from inhaling was soothing in itself, but it also created anxiety. Once you start to smoke, you get addicted to the nicotine, and then you crave the nicotine. And when you don't have a cigarette, you can trigger that feeling of, or that craving, which can feel similar to anxiety at times. So a double-edged sword. I was trying to deal with the anxiety with the cigarette, but also creating it by having the nicotine in my body. And then also, if it became too extreme, drinking was a big part of culture here in New Zealand, and we would get on the beers on the weekend, and binge drinking was just part of what we did. So this again, using it to perhaps numb down or try and cope with some of those uncomfortable feelings or anxiety, but then causing it with hangovers and that cloudiness, the full body shock you put yourself through when you put a dozen beers through the system. That in itself can cause anxiety, not only the next day, for several days. I think they have a term for it now, hangxiety. It's like the anxiety from a hangover, which is real classy. Love it. What else did I try? When things sort of didn't change over time, I didn't know the underlying causes, or I couldn't see, I wasn't aware of it completely. But the next thing I tried was probably in my late teens, early 20s, when this experience was at another level. The anxiety was crippling in the body. Sometimes you didn't want to get out of bed or wouldn't want to leave the bedroom. You just had this fear in your body. You'd wake up with it. Just want to hide under the sheets or shut yourself away from the world. So as we do in New Zealand, you go to a GP or a doctor, we call them a GP, and tell the doc, hey, this is what I'm experiencing. And just so common in New Zealand, especially now with the coaching I do and the people I talk to, such a common experience. You show up with anything like anxious, out of sorts, can't think. Stock standard practice is, well, this is from my experiences, no further questioning. Like, there might be the odd thing, do you exercise, but no deep dive into what's actually going on in your life. So you get put into a box. You've got anxiety or something similar. Here's a pill to try. And what a roller coaster of an experience that can be. Medication, albeit, has some proof around it and some placebo proofs that it can help. In my experience, wasn't amazing. I tried a raft of different medications over the years, probably 6 different anti-anxiety or antidepressant medications, and all had their own raft of side effects. Some of them, equal to, if not worse, than the anxiety itself they were trying to solve. In my mid-20s, when the anxiety was still there and part of my daily experience, although I was quite successful on the outside of university, had a great career and looked like I was doing really well, deep down I still had it. And I tried counselling and talk therapy, probably for on and off different modalities of therapies, probably 10 years, different therapists, different types of therapy, CBT, EMDR, trying to find the root cause and things like that. No one actually dug into what I was doing on a daily basis, how I was living, my lifestyle, and what might be causing this, which is probably what leads on to what I discovered later on in my journey, which was that anxiety is like a symptom. It's, imagine in your car, you've got the dashboard and you've got the lights that come on. If you haven't changed your oil, checked your oil, you're running low, it'll throw up a warning sign, check oil, engine temperature, something's not right. I think anxiety is similar to the warning lights, but in a human. It's telling you something's not quite right underneath. There's something out of order. There's something, I call it now, your internal state is not regulated or it's dysregulated. And I believe a lot of anxiety has a root cause in a dysregulated state. And that comes about by a raft of different ways. It can be learned behaviors, it can be traumatic experiences, it can be your lifestyle. My lifestyle in my 20s consisted of not a lot of exercise, waking up, living off, coffees and cigarettes, and just eating whatever was available, generally out for lunch. No one actually dug into what my lifestyle was and what might be causing it. And now I'll lead on to what actually worked for me and what works continually now to keep me regulated or out of that flight and fright and fight stage that's banded around everywhere. I know what that feels like, but it's just another term to, describe this dysregulated internal state. What I do now and what I know that works with myself and all of my clients, when they start applying these simple strategies, things change for them, often a lot quicker than they think. So for me, it's a morning routine. And that's waking up at the same time every day. This is what I do to stay regulated. So waking up at the same time every day. For me, that's 5 o'clock during the week. 5 days a week, up at 5. And why 5? Well, a couple of reasons. This allows me to have time to get things in order, get my workout done, get my meditation done, get my day planned before anyone else in the house is up, before the kids need to get up, go to school, whatever it may be. So up at 5, first thing I do is hydrate. So we've got filtered or spring water preferably, and I do a pinch of rock salt in that. That's because you generally wake up dehydrated. So hydrate first thing consistently. No coffee, no stimulants, especially if you're anxious. Don't go there first thing. Following that, I get some body movement in, and this has been huge for not only my anxiety but my recovery. And body movement can look like a walk, but something vigorous, something. I love going to the gym now. So 5 days a week, it's either gym, walk or run. Generally gym or running now. But to be honest, it took quite a while to get there. And for a number of years, it was just walking. That's all I could manage. 2.5 years ago, I tried running. I ran 1.2 Ks and threw up. So I was in pretty bad shape, but just start where you're at. So walking, a great one. So following my walk or gym routine, and that will look different for all of you. The next thing I do, get home and a short meditation. Nowadays, that's a little more serious, a little more productive, or not productive, unproductive, which is what meditation should be. I go for around 15 to 20 minutes, but just start 5 minutes. There's plenty of guided meditations out there, or just sit with yourself for 5 minutes. Just watch your thoughts in that time. Let them come up and go. Notice them. Don't follow them. Don't keep chasing them. Just watch your thoughts and let them go. This gave me a real sense of peace over time. Meditation's been huge for me in the last 5 years. So a short meditation, another great way to start the day and just to keep calm, regulated after getting some exercise in. Meditation, so good. Following that, something to eat or some form of, especially when you're new to this, still staying off the coffees, but some form of protein. If you're getting a workout in, a protein shake is great, or some form of whole foods. Try and avoid the sugary shit, carb-loaded cereals that are out there and stick with something whole food like eggs, whatever you're into. Avocado is great. So something to eat. And from there, you're pretty well set for the day. If you follow that short, simple routine. The one thing I forgot is at the other end of the night. So sleep is so crucial to stay regulated. So crucial. Getting up earlier allows you to be tired at the end of the day and go to bed at a reasonable time and get your 8 hours sleep or whatever it is for you. So crucial, get that sleep. So that's the routine that I follow and have for a number of years. And that's what I believe has been fundamental in me overcoming and staying free from anxiety. And I probably didn't touch on the extent or how crippling my anxiety was over those years, but it was really, really severe. And I don't say that lightly. It was debilitating at times. So I'd love for you all to give that a go, your own version of that, but focus on regulating your internal state early, and you'll notice it stays with you throughout the day. I hope this has given you some insight or some clarity, some hope around, from my experience, from crippling anxiety to being free from it for years, that there is a way through. And although it's not easy, dealing or coping with anxiety, I know it's not easy, but often it's simple things that will take you from where you are to where you want to be. And if that's free from anxiety, feel free to subscribe and follow for more content. This is all new to me, so I'm just giving it a go, and I appreciate all your support. I'll also leave a link in the description as well. We have a coaching business, Undependent, which supports people break some of these destructive patterns and break free. So if you want to learn more about that or have a chat, feel free to check out the links below, and I'll talk to you all soon.